Yeah. FBA forever. Let's go. Born of the chains, but crowned in fire. Descendants of the builders, we was never the buyers. Flag on our back, but the truth goes higher. This ain't a fucking movement, this a bloodline choir. Unified front, definition of loyalty. FBA forever, true American royalty. Unified front, definition of loyalty. FBA forever, true American royalty.
Erase the history of black people being called a monkey. Let's talk about the history of black people being called monkeys. That came from, first of all, back in the 1800s in Belgium, there were human zoos. Who was a part of the zoo? It wasn't the white people, it was the black people. We were on display at the zoo. If you do your history, when white people came over to Africa and they started seeing a whole bunch of monkeys, they started saying, well, damn, they look like black people. That's where we originated from, which is completely false. If you let's bring it up to present day times to where our grandparents can remember minstrel shows and blackface with porch monkeys. There's never a time where a black person should be called a monkey and it is okay. I don't care who says it. When your parents called you a monkey, it wasn't cool. When the little boy got on, when H&M had the coolest monkey in the, you can't erase the history.
You know, blacks do look like chimpanzees. I was watching this black woman with her daughter, and they look like two chimps. Their mouths were elongated out, you know, duckish look. Think I want to date a 60-year-old hag? That I'm not interested in any old ugly hag. I think after a certain age, they're all dried up, washed up, burned out. They're when they're young, and when they get old, they're just mean, hateful, dried up old.
This was the president portraying former President Obama and First Lady Michelle Obama as members of the primate family. We have a history in this country of demeaning people of color as being members of the primate family. So I wanted to come tonight, and I took a seat so that I knew he would have to pass close in my proximity so that I could tell him to his face that black people are not apes. We are not. And the president has to have someone to tell him what he needs to know rather than what he wants to hear. My hope was then, and my hope is now, that the president will realize that his bigotry and his racism cannot be tolerated, because if we tolerate it, we perpetuate it. Those who tolerate bigotry and racism perpetuate it. I'm not going to tolerate it. And he needs to know that there are people who are willing to tell him up close and in person that what he's doing is wrong. He seems to think that he's above the law. He has no respect for due process of the law. Separation of powers means nothing to him. He believes he can go to war without conferring with the Congress. He has to be brought back into control. He's out of control.
Have you took a good look at a monkey? A monkey got thin lips. Take a good look at a monkey. A monkey got light eyes. Take a good look at a monkey. A monkey got straight hair. Take a good look at a monkey. Have you took a good look at
White people did not exist before 1681. Again, white people did not exist on planet Earth until 1681. Number two, any claim that this group called white people, any claim that that group is rooted in biology or derived from genes or biology or is innate or is from nature is a lie. Third and final point. As a matter of foundational law, actually let me say it this way, white supremacy has been embedded in the United States of America from its founding as a matter of law. Now, I don't expect you to buy all that, to get all that, to believe all that, at least not now.
We know from DNA testing that pure Africans have zero Neanderthal DNA. So there must have been some deep European origins of the Neanderthal. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's right. Whether it's deeply in Europe or sort of into the Near East is much debated. But yeah, it's outside of Africa.
It's not even obvious that non-Africans today are modern humans. They're just, maybe they're Neanderthals who became modernized by waves and waves of admixture.
The result indicated that Neanderthals were genetically closer to Europeans and Asians than they were to Africans. It meant that somewhere along the line, European and Asian humans had picked up Neanderthal DNA.
So you have a fingernail that's gone crazy over here, huh? Yes. We call that usually a cutaneous horn when we see something like that.
That like ring around it is super sore.
And I can see how that's tender because it's really stretching your skin there. Let me take a little photo of it right now, actually, too. I mean, I've seen cutaneous horns before. I mean, but certainly this is the largest cutaneous horn that I've ever seen. Girl, we got to get rid of that thing for you. Right? One of the things that I'm certainly thinking about with Lisa here is skin cancer, because one type of squamous cell carcinoma called a keratoacanthoma can look like this. I'm not exactly sure what it is. I feel like you give me a story here that sounds like it could be a pilar cyst, and it has grown out of control. This is the angriest pilar cyst I've ever seen, if that's the case. Because usually when we see a cutaneous horn, we do think of other things that might be a little bit more concerning, you know, that can happen with types of skin cancers. I don't know whether it's benign. I don't know whether it's malignant. I'm hoping to figure out soon. I'm going to try to excise this cutaneous horn. If something weird's going on underneath there, I might have to change my plan. We're going to see. All right, so you make sure we're not hurting you at all.
There's a little worry in the back of my mind that it could be cancerous.
I'm just going to pull on this and see. Okay, you guys ready? Yeah, one big swift knock from your dog, and I think you would have had this thing on the floor.
Chimps and other apes grow hair all over their bodies. The hairiest people you've ever seen have been white people. Distinct from their face, hands, and feet, part the hair of most chimpanzees the way they do to each other when checking for lice, and their skin color is white, not any shade of black or brown. Ever hear of a lice outbreak among black children? White children are 30 times more susceptible to lice infestation than are black children. The parasite simply likes to lay eggs in the hair of chimpanzees and white people more than on the hair of black people. For most of the 20th century, Neanderthals were portrayed as stupid and brutish. Turns out, beginning in the 1990s, genetic research revealed that Europeans are between 1 and 3% Neanderthal. Africans, 0%. This goes on.
Welcome everyone to the John Horse X podcast. The topic of today is Black Cultural Erasure. Part 1, Blacks are the original humans. They say history is written, but not always fully told. Let's talk about origin. Peep game. According to mainstream science, all modern humans trace their roots back to Africa. Not theory, this is widely accepted. Fossil records, genetic studies, the out of Africa model, it shows that early humans developed in Africa before migrating across the world. Here's where it gets interesting. Many non-African populations carry Neanderthal DNA, but most African populations do not, meaning the original human line developed before that mixing happened. So when we talk about origin, we're not talking about opinion. We're talking about where humanity began. But here's the question. If this is widely known in science, why isn't it widely understood in culture? I showed clips of white people calling black people monkeys. The nerve of them. They look closer to monkeys than black people ever will. Some white people have a history of growing horns out of their heads and tails out of their backs. At the end of the day, this is black cultural erasure, not always hiding facts, sometimes just not emphasizing them. This is how they play in your face. Thanks for watching. Like, comment, share, and subscribe. And most importantly, keep your head on the swivel, your eyes peeled, and stay woke. FBA forever. Let's go. Born of the chains, but crowned in fire. Descendants of the builders, we was never the buyers. Flag on our back, but the truth goes higher. This ain't a fucking movement, just a bloodline choir. Unified front, definition of loyalty. FBA forever, true American royalty. Unified front, definition of loyalty. FBA forever, true American royalty.